talking about. He has gone in the primordial state and started deciphering them and learning their history, their historicity. That is Nene Edmund Husserl. The phenomenology has only, it can only follow a certain route. It has to go primordial. It has to use hermeneutics to interpret the primordial values. And within that, try to see what are the entities that are primordial and are equiprimordial. You start to get many of them. And these are what make who Dasein is and how he exists. Being with is a characteristic of Dasein, and it means concern. At the same time, in a broader context, it means care. Being with also relates closely with being toward. This mode is the coming into proximity with Dasein's entities of the others. These are not equipment ready to hand. These are Dasein's others, humans interacting with other humans. Care. And you can see even like the theory of justice by Rawls, John Rawls, the guru in Harvard. You can see he almost starts primordial in the theory of justice. The veil, if you have read the theory of justice. You can even see Martin Heidegger. John Rawls kind of takes being and time, and he actually looks at life from justice point of view. Because it starts when, like utility. If you have got more use of something and you have it, sometimes you don't have to think of the other people because you have the utility of that thing. You also want to maximize its use. But at the same time, you start now to be asking your conscientism, your conscience starts to disturb you because you have your neighbors. You have got to share with them. You can't see people starving and dying and you in your gallery you're keeping food. But it's deeper than that. In both Heideggerian, in Roelsian, in Rothian, all these things are not as simple as that you're just going to share with your neighbors. There are more other things to be put into consideration before you just say, oh, you're going to share with everybody. Knowing oneself is grounded in being with, which understands primordially. So there you are, primordially, beginning of time. So these beings, that entities that have been put together, if you look at all of them, they start with man from the beginning, understanding. State of mind. That thing doesn't just start with human being just the other day. Moods, anxiety. Anxiety is inherently man. You're born, you don't have to be taught anxiety. It's just there inbuilt. So these things, they're so complicated. But I don't mean they're beyond understanding, no. Empathy is an essence of being with, because societies have a lot of injustice taking place. So Daseins are left to search their conscience for the inner voice to do the right thing. This is where empathy comes in. Now you see we are starting to get deeper into things. Empathy is a thing that Dasein concerns himself with. The masses, they do not allow empathy to flow freely in society. Dasein finds himself in a dilemma. Self-interest is overwhelming. So the being with bug does not take hold. Because being with is an entity that is inherently Dasein or human. But the identical life does not allow it just to flow like that. Actually, you think even it does not exist. Care and concern. They are really stifled, strangled. Distantiality, distance, averageness, leveling down, as ways of being for they, constitute what we know as publicness. Sometimes if you have to use bad language, the things of the masses. Because when people lose empathy and they lose care and concern, they acquire a resoluteness. Because we're going to meet the word resoluteness and projection. They project anger and violence. In these characters of being, which we have exhibited every day, being among one another, distality, averageness, leveling down, publicness, the disbandoning of one's being, and accommodation lies that consistency of Dasein, which is closest to us. This constancy, pertains not to the enduring being present at hand of something, but rather to Dasein's kind of being as being with. That's a mouthful. Because even me, these are mouthful. There. This is possible through language and discourse. Dasein acquires understanding of his existence out of there in the world. This is also said to be a state of mind. Dasein ponders about it internally, as if looking carefully at what the world offers him for survival. The there is everything in the existence of Dasein. Mood is what existence is all about. For example, Dasein has no food to eat. Hunger will set in and anger, remorse, agitation, and denial will follow. The essential existential speciality of being and the world. State of mind. State of mind is very important in the existence of Dasein. For all the things in the thought process are all in the realm of the state of mind and essential to existence. So you can see, state of mind is an entity of Dasein. Because you can read this thing and wonder, what are the entities? And you're just talking about them because that's why you could keep repeating them until you kind of also give them why state of mind is it an entity. Because if you are not in a state of mind, I want to build a rocket. What for? I want to build a spacecraft. And we want now to be taking people to outer space because we have discovered in Jupiter or in one of the heavenly bodies, planet, human being can settle, but they start by visiting. There has to be that state of mind in people, in the day, for them to think, let us now go into the sciences. As Oman Van Kwan said, after you have used language, language has limits. Then you become empirical and scientific, and you go to the world of sciences, the Vienna Circle. You use formulas and everything, and you kind of measure the things you're going to put together to make a spaceship. Then you put it together through the minds that are there, experts in different areas of a spacecraft, and then you put together one. No, those are scientific entities and the equipment that are going to come to help the existence of man. How? They're going to put design into that spacecraft, and he's going to take off from Cape Canaveral, and they're going to go and start exploring that new world. I'm not going to call it new world because we don't you want to use the terminology of exploiting the outer planet that is going to be found in the future. It's going to be for the benefit of man. So to use pioneer, the word pioneers, that's a language of the conquistadors. That's a discussion for another day. Being in the world allows fears to be one of the state of mind. Dasein has to contend to it. Existence has all kinds of challenges, and these involve food, shelter, clothing. Dasein is always in fear of failing to provide for himself these very essential needs of survival. Fear always reveals Daseins in the being of its there, equiprimordial, existing together as equally fundamental. Forms of fear, timidity, shyness, misgivings becoming started. So, because I've been recording for some time, I'm gonna stop here. This is part 8 of this program, and this is your host, Dr. Gilbert Gicharu Githere, saying bye-bye until we meet again.